Chapter 1. Whispers in the Shadows. Japan is a land of dazzling lights and endless wonders. Cities hum with neon, trains glide with clockwork precision, and technology blends seamlessly into daily life. But when the neon signs flicker out, when the last train disappears into the tunnel and the streets fall quiet, the country changes. Narrow alleys grow darker. Shuttered windows seem to follow your every move. The air itself feels heavier, as if something unseen is watching. For centuries, the Japanese people have whispered stories of the things that walk in this silence. Spirits born from tragedy, ghosts who cannot rest, creatures that slip between the living and the dead. They are called yorai, restless souls, often women who died with great sorrow or rage. There are yokai too, supernatural beings that range from mischievous tricksters to merciless predators. These tales are not just entertainment. They are warnings, shaped by centuries of fear, passed from one generation to the next. A reminder that the world is full of things we cannot explain. Unlike Western horror, Japanese ghost stories rarely grant clean escapes. The endings are rarely neat. Instead, they leave behind curses that cling to families for generations, shadows that stain entire towns, whispers that follow you long after the story is done. Here, survival often comes at a cost, and even the spared are never truly free. Tonight, we cross that veil. From snow-covered mountains to empty train stations, from quiet schools to lonely streets, spirits linger where you least expect them. These are not tales of monsters from distant worlds. They are stories of spirits beside us, unseen, unheard, until it's too late. 3 tales from across Japan. 3 encounters locals still whisper about. This is Scary Stories from Japan. Chapter 2. The Slit-Mouthed Woman. Kuchisei Kanana. The story begins on a quiet suburban street in Gifu Prefecture. It is late, close to midnight, the kind of hour when the houses lining the street are all dark, their curtains drawn tight. Only the faint buzz of a vending machine and the rustle of wind through the trees break the silence. A teenage boy named Haruto is walking home after cram school. His bag hangs heavy on his shoulder, filled with textbooks and notes that smell faintly of pencil shavings. He adjusts the straps and quickens his pace. The night feels unusually still, and his footsteps echo against the pavement louder than they should. The street stretches out in front of him, empty, too empty. In the distance, a lone street lamp flickers, and under its weak yellow glow, Haruto notices her. A woman, she is standing perfectly still, almost as if she has been waiting for someone. Her figure is tall and slim. She wears a beige trench coat that sways faintly in the night breeze. Her long black hair falls neatly around her shoulders. Covering her mouth and nose is a surgical mask, a common sight in Japan, especially during cold or flu season. At first, Haruto thinks nothing of it. People wear masks all the time. Perhaps she is on her way home as well. But as he walks past, the woman takes a single step forward. Her movement is deliberate, controlled, and yet unnervingly silent. Her voice is soft, almost polite. "Am I pretty?" Haruto stops in his tracks. The question slices through the night like broken glass. Too sudden, too intimate. Who asks something like that to a stranger on a deserted street? He forces a smile, his throat dry. "Yes, you are." The woman tilts her head ever so slightly, as though she's curious. Then, with slow precision, she raises her hand. Her fingers curl around the edge of the mask, and with one smooth motion she pulls it away. Haruto's breath catches. Her mouth is slit open from ear to ear. Jagged scars carve across her pale skin. Her lips curl unnaturally wide, pulled back so far they look as if they will split her head in two. Between them, sharp, yellowed teeth glisten under the flickering streetlight. "How about now?" Her voice is no longer soft. It is sharp, cutting, and hungry. Haruto stumbles backward. His heart slams against his ribs. He has heard whispers of this spirit before. Rumors spread in classrooms, pass between children like forbidden secrets. A woman who roams the night, asking strangers if she is pretty. If you say no, she kills you instantly. If you say yes, she slices your mouth open to look just like hers. The slit-mouthed woman. Kuchisei Onna. The woman steps closer. Her trench coat flutters as though alive. Her eyes glisten unnaturally bright, locked on Haruto. "Answer me," she hisses. "Am I pretty?" His legs tremble. His mind races. Every part of him screams to run, but his body refuses to move. Then, a memory flickers in his mind. His teacher, half joking during a ghost story lesson, once mentioned that people claimed you could survive an encounter with Kuchisake Onna by confusing her, answering vaguely, distracting her. Haruto swallows hard. His voice cracks. Yes, you're average. For a long, agonizing moment, silence fills the street. The woman freezes. Her head twitches unnaturally, like a puppet whose strings have been pulled too tight. Her eyes narrow, processing the answer. The street lamp above them flickers once, twice, and when the light steadies again, she is gone. Haruto doesn't wait to question it. His legs finally obey, and he runs. He bolts down the street, his school bag thudding against his back. His footsteps thunder across the pavement, but behind him, he swears he hears another sound. A whisper brushing his ear, a faint, rasping breath. Every corner he turns, every alley he cuts through, he feels her presence just behind him. Shadows stretch unnaturally long, twisting like hands trying to grab him. The wind itself seems to laugh as it pushes against his back. By the time he reaches his home, his lungs are burning. His vision blurs with panic and exhaustion. He fumbles with his keys, nearly dropping them before he finally slams the door shut. He locks it, bolts it, presses his back against the wood. Silence. For a long time, Haruto can hear nothing but his own ragged breathing. He doesn't sleep that night. The shadows in his room feel alive, crawling across the walls. Every creak of the house makes him jolt upright, certain that she has followed him inside. And though he survived, something within him has changed. Haruto never walks home alone again. Even in the daylight, he finds himself glancing over his shoulder, searching every corner for a flash of beige cloth, a pair of gleaming eyes, or the faint outline of a mask. Because once you meet Kuchisake Onna, the stories say, you never truly escape her. Children still whisper her tale in schoolyards across Japan. Some claim she carries a pair of rusty scissors, dripping with the blood of past victims. Others say if you toss her candy, peppermints especially, she may pause long enough for you to run. A few even insist that smearing pomade or strong-smelling oil can drive her back, though none dare to test it. But one thing remains certain. If you ever find yourself alone at night in Japan, and a woman in a mask steps forward, tilts her head, and asks, "Am I pretty?" don't answer too quickly, because no matter what you say, she may already know how the story ends. Chapter 3. The Crawling Ghost of the Train, Teka Teka. On the northern island of Hokkaido, winter nights are brutal. The cold bites into bone and snow piles high along the tracks. The wind howls across empty fields, carrying with it a silence so deep that even the faintest sound feels amplified. Most people avoid train stations after the last departure. By then, the shops have closed, the heaters have been shut off, and the platforms lie still under the glow of harsh fluorescent lights. These stations are not meant for lingering, they are liminal places built to send people somewhere else. Once their purpose ends for the night, they become eerie, almost unnatural. One such night, a young salaryman named Daisuke finds himself stranded. He had missed his train after staying too long at the office, his boss dumping one last stack of reports on his desk. By the time he reached the station, the final departure had already left. The next would not arrive for hours. He sighs and sits down on a cold metal bench. His briefcase rests by his side. Above him, the fluorescent bulbs buzz faintly, their pale light painting the station in sickly white. The digital timetable flickers every so often, glitching in and out. Daisuke pulls his scarf tighter. His breath fogs in the frigid air. The stillness gnaws at him. He can hear every sound, his heartbeat, the faint rattle of a vending machine, the groan of the wind sliding under the tracks. The station feels abandoned. Then he hears it. Tek, tek, tek. The sound echoes across the platform. At first, Daisuke dismisses it. Maybe loose metal clattering in the cold, or an animal scurrying across the rails. But the noise grows sharper, irregular, like fingernails dragging across concrete. His stomach tightens. He glances around, but the platform is empty. The sound doesn't stop. Tek, tek, tek. He leans forward, peering into the shadows near the tracks. The pale light doesn't reach far, and the darkness beyond the beams feels impossibly thick. That's when he sees her, a girl, or what's left of one. Her body is split clean in half at the waist. No legs, no hips, just an upper torso, dragging itself forward. Her hands and elbows scrape violently against the ground, jerking her along with shocking speed. Her long black hair trails against the concrete, damp with blood. Her face is pale, twisted into a mask of rage, her eyes wide and unblinking. Every movement makes that dreadful sound. Tek, tek, tek. Daisuke stumbles to his feet, his knees nearly buckling. His heart slams inside his chest so hard he feels it in his throat. He knows this story. Everyone does. It is told in schools across Japan, whispered at sleepovers, shared on message boards. The ghost of a girl who fell onto the tracks and was cut in half by a speeding train. She died screaming, her torso torn away from her lower body. Now, she roams stations and railways at night, dragging herself with clawed hands, hunting for new victims. They call her Teke Teke, named after the sound she makes as she crawls. The girl lifts her head, and their eyes meet. Her mouth twists into a snarl, teeth bared. Before Daisuke can move, she lunges. Her speed is inhuman. She propels herself across the platform, her elbows slamming against the concrete with terrifying force. Sparks fly where her nails scrape. The sound drills into his ears. Tek, tek, tek. Daisu grabs his briefcase and runs. His footsteps pound down the length of the platform, echoing into the night. His breath comes in ragged gasps. The icy wind cuts into his face, but the sound follows. Tek, tek, tek. Closer. Faster. He darts into the stairwell leading to the station exit, the metal handrails cold beneath his grip. His shoes slam against each step, echoing wildly. But the crawling is right behind him, rattling like a death drum. Faster. He hisses to himself, his legs burning with exertion. He bursts into the ticket gate area, deserted at this hour. The machines glow silently, their green lights mocking his desperation. He doesn't stop. He barrels through, his briefcase clattering against the floor. He pushes open the heavy glass doors and staggers out onto the snowy street. The freezing air slaps his lungs raw. For a moment, there is silence. Then, tek, tek, tek. He spins around. She's there. Only a few feet away, her pale body drags itself across the snow with horrifying speed. Her black hair leaves streaks of blood in its wake, and in her hands gleams a weapon, a rusty scythe, jagged and cruel. The legends are true. They say she cuts her victims in half, forcing them to be like her. Daisuke stumbles backward, slipping in the snow. His legs tremble, his breath comes out in sharp bursts. He opens his mouth to scream, but the sound dies in his throat. She lunges again, the scythe raised high. Her eyes burn with hatred. The night swallows his scream. The next morning, commuters arrive at the station as usual. Snow crunches beneath their boots. They find the platform empty except for a blood-stained briefcase and a single black glove lying near the bench. No sign of Daisuke. No footprints leading away. Just silence. The story spreads quickly. Rumors ripple through offices and schools. Some say Teke Teke claimed another victim. Others insist that once you hear her story, you are marked that she will come for you within 3 days, dragging herself to wherever you are. If you're lucky, you'll never hear that sound. But if you do, if you're alone in a train station, late at night, and the silence breaks with that dreadful rhythm, tek, 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 don't look back, don't hesitate, run, because she's already closer than you think. Chapter 4. The Snow Woman, Yuki-onna. High in the mountains of Niigata Prefecture, winter never truly ends. Snow falls in thick sheets, burying villages, silencing forests, and trapping travelers who dare to cross its frozen paths. The wind moans through the valleys like a living thing, and the moonlight glitters coldly off endless white. Long ago, 2 woodcutters ventured into these mountains. One was old and weary, his face lined with years of toil. The other was his young apprentice, Minokichi, strong and eager, yet still inexperienced. They worked late into the day, felling trees and gathering firewood, but as evening fell, the weather turned. Clouds thickened, and a sudden blizzard swallowed the forest. The men pressed forward, snow whipping against their faces, their bodies growing numb with cold. Their path home disappeared beneath the storm. Soon, they stumbled upon a small, abandoned hut, its roof sagging under the weight of snow. Desperate for shelter, they forced the door open and huddled inside. The hut was dark and freezing. Wind slipped through the cracks in the wood, carrying sharp needles of ice. The men wrapped themselves in their coats, shivering by a weak fire. The older man soon drifted into a heavy sleep. Minokichi fought to stay awake, his eyelids heavy, his mind drifting. That was when he felt it. A strange sensation. The air grew colder, sharper, almost painful against his lungs. His eyes snapped open. The door had opened. Standing in the doorway was a tall woman in a flowing white kimono. Her skin was pale as untouched snow. Her hair black as midnight ink. Her lips tinged the color of frostbite. She moved without sound, her presence colder than the storm itself. The wind did not touch her. Her bare feet left no prints on the floor. Minokichi's breath froze in his throat. He could not speak. He could not move. The woman drifted silently toward the older woodcutter. She leaned close, her face inches from his. A faint cloud of icy mist spilled from her lips. Within seconds, the man's body stiffened. His skin turned ghostly white, frost creeping across his eyelashes. His chest stopped rising. His eyes glazed over, frozen solid. The woman straightened. Her gaze turned to Minokichi. The boy's heart hammered in his chest. He wanted to scream, to run, but his body betrayed him. He was trapped beneath her gaze, paralyzed by fear. For a moment, he was certain he would die. But then, her expression shifted. The icy hardness in her eyes softened into something almost tender. She studied his face, her head tilting slightly. "You are young," she whispered, her voice like the hiss of snow sliding from a rooftop. "And handsome. I will let you live, but on one condition." She leaned closer. The cold radiating from her felt unbearable. "You must never tell anyone what you've seen tonight. If you do, I will know, and I will kill you." Minokichi's lips trembled, but no words came. The woman's gaze lingered on him a moment longer, then she turned. With a swirl of snow, she was gone, vanishing into the storm outside. Years passed. Minokichi returned to the village. Though haunted by the memory, he obeyed her warning. He told no one about the snow spirit who had spared his life. Time passed, and the terror faded, replaced by the routines of daily living. Eventually, Minokichi married. His wife was a beautiful young woman from another village. She was kind, gentle, and strikingly graceful. Strangely, she never seemed to age. Though the winters came and went, her skin remained pale and flawless, her hair dark and lustrous. Villagers sometimes whispered about her unusual beauty, but Minokichi dismissed it. He was happy, they had children, and his life seemed full. But the memory of that night never left him. On cold winter evenings, when the snow pressed against the windows and the fire burned low, he felt the weight of the secret he carried. One such night, years after the storm, he sat by the fire with his wife. The children were asleep. The crackling of the logs filled the silence. And for the first time, Minokichi spoke. He told her everything. Of the blizzard, of the hut, of the pale woman who had taken his master's life with a breath of frost, of the promise she had forced upon him that if he told anyone, she would return. As he spoke, he noticed something strange. The color drained from his wife's face. Her eyes grew cold, hard, unblinking. Her lips curled into a familiar, icy smile. "I warned you," she whispered. Her voice was no longer soft and kind. It was the same chilling hiss he had heard in that hut years ago. Her form began to blur. Snow swirled around her body, filling the room. The fire sputtered and died, leaving the house plunged in darkness and frost. When the storm cleared, she was gone. Minokichi was left alone, trembling before the hearth, alive but cursed. To this day, villagers in Niigata still speak of the Yuki-onna, the snow woman. Some say she is merciful, sparing the young, although she finds beautiful. Others say she is merciless, killing any who cross her path. She is both protector and executioner, a spirit as changeable as the winter storms themselves. But one warning is always the same. If you see a woman in the snow, pale and silent, do not follow her, do not speak to her, and above all, do not tell her story. Because if you do, she will know, and she will come for you. These are the whispers of Japan's long nights. The slit-mouthed woman who waits under dim street lamps. The crawling ghost of the train, searching for victims to share her fate. The snow spirit who drifts through storms, beautiful and deadly. They remind us of one truth. In Japan, ghosts are not bound to old ruins or distant castles. They are here on quiet streets, in schools, at train stations, in the falling snow. They linger in places we know, waiting for those who are careless, curious, or simply unlucky. So if you ever find yourself walking alone in Japan after midnight, be careful. because the spirits are watching.